Part 2 of Poems for My Children by Ann Hawkshaw. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Little Wanderers. The Wind. The Little Wanderers. Part 1. The Resolve. 'Twas morning, and the valleys lay still in the mountain's shade, while near a Switzer's cottage door two little children played. One was a gentle girl, whose face was bright with health and joy, though birds and streams were all her books, a flower her only joy. She sat upon a log of wood, pleased with her rustic seat. A little basket full of flowers was placed beside her feet. The other was a noble boy, with forehead broad and high, and eyes that looked from their clear depths like stars from out the sky. He was a brave and fearless child, yet modest, kind, and meek. But how a tale of wrong would flush with crimson his young cheek! Their father on the mountain heights hunted the chamois wild, and often told of daring feats before his listening child. And Pierre's young eyes would sparkle then. "I'll be a hunter too." He shook his curly locks and said, "Father, and do like you." Pierre climbed the cliffs and brought the flowers to Ella where she sat, while she with slender fingers twined them round his rustic hat. She lifted up her mild blue eyes to where the mountains lay, all glittering in the thousand lights of a bright summer's day. "All beautiful that land must be, all glittering and all fair," she softly whispered to herself. "I wish that we were there. I wonder if 'tis fairies' land, and if they light it so that little ones like Pierre and I may see the way to go. They love good children, and I'm sure that Pierre is very good. He walked with me last night an hour to seek flowers in the wood, although he likes to climb the cliffs better than gather flowers, or seek the falcon's nest, than walk like me through woodland bowers." While thus she whispered to herself, the flowers dropped from her hand, and earnestly her eyes were bent on that far-off fairy land. "Ella, you have not wreathed my hat. The flowers are all around. What makes you look so wonderingly up to your mountain ground?" "Oh, Pierre," the little one replied, "it's so bright and grand. The rocks must all be made of gems. It must be fairyland." Pierre looked and saw the morning sun gleaming on peaks of snow, and lower down the crystal streams from hidden fountains flow. He almost heard the torrents gush, and the proud eagles cry, as with a slow majestic flight it sought its nest on high. And his heart bounded at the sight, and he too longed to climb, not to seek Ella's fairyland, but mountain cliffs sublime. Pierre seized his hat, bedecked with flowers. "I'll go, I'm sure we can," and with his sister's hand in his, away they swiftly ran. Part 2. The Avalanche. Down the green slope they swiftly ran, on which their cottage stood, crossed at the foot a little brook, then passed into a wood. They lingered not to gather flowers or watch the squirrel leap, for now they heard the torrent fall into its basin deep. From age to age, from rock to rock, it fell with thundering sound, and balls like snow of shining foam were scattered all around. They gazed awhile with trembling awe up to the rocky ledge o'er which it fell, and then began to clamber by its edge. From bush to bush and stone to stone o'ergrown with moss they went, and sometimes o'er the dangerous cliff the fearless children bent. An eagle screaming left its nest and rose into the sky. A wild goat o'er the torrent leaped and passed them swiftly by. All was so new and strange and wild, they gazed delighted round, till suddenly their ears were stunned by a terrific sound. It was not thunder, yet it seemed to shake the very earth, and high amid the mountain peaks it had its sudden birth. Clasped in each other's arms they stood, their rosy cheeks turned white, and as the sound yet louder grew, they held each other tight. Poor Ella closed her fearful eyes, but Pierre still dared to look up to the mountain's snowy heights, though all around him shook. "Noise will not hurt us, sister dear," the daring brother cried. "I hear it still, I hear it now, come down the mountain side. I see it too, an avalanche. Look, Ella, look and see. 'Thas broken now a piece of rock, now it has crushed a tree. Look how it bears the stones along, and tears up tree and bush. Now from yon overhanging cliff 'twill like a torrent rush. It has, and it has reached the plain, and plunged into the lake. Then we are safe. Ah, Ella, no, the lake its bounds may break." The avalanche had fallen where the lake and river met, and fiercely now against its base the chafed waters beat, and swiftly spread across the plain, and all before them swept. The shepherd left his sheep and fled, or in some cavern crept. Onward it spread, till all the vale became one watery plain, which rolled between them and the home they longed to now regain. They saw it on its sunny slope, their parents were not there, and not a creature was in sight to witness their despair. A distant sound of dying cries was borne upon the breeze, mixed with a roar of waves and noise of crashing rocks and trees. Poor Ella wept in wild despair, then sunk upon the ground, while Pierre, by danger calmer made, looked earnestly around. "Sister," he said, "come, dry your tears, they will not help us now." There was a something in his tone, a something on his brow, that made her feel she must be calm. She had a spirit too, though meek, yet full of fortitude, to bear, if not to do. "We cannot now return," he said, "but we must try to find our way behind that mountain cliff to which the sun inclined, when yesternight we watched him set, and should we lose our way, then we must creep into some cave and wait till coming day. Have you not heard our father tell how in the olden time, when cruel tyrants ruled the land, and there was war and crime, how many good and holy men, women and children too, were forced to fly and hide in caves? What they did we can do." He took his sister's hand in his, and down they bent their way. Quickly they went, there was no time for lingering or delay. The sun, already in mid-heaven, betokened it was noon, and the deep valleys they must pass they knew would darken soon. They wandered on from hour to hour, and hope the time beguiled, but stranger all the mountains grew, and wilder still and wild. They from each other kept their fears, impelled by love or pride, till Ella, without cry or tear, sank lifeless at his side. Part III. The Cave in the Mountains. A little distant from the spot where Ella fainting lay, there was a cavern which had oft in persecution's day hidden from the oppressor's power, till brighter days returned, the brave and good within whose hearts pure noble thoughts had burned. 'Twas known to many a peasant child, for round the winter's fire they talked of those whose memories with time would not expire. The Cave of Liberty 'twas called by those who lived around, and many a hunter trod the spot as if 'twere holy ground. And so it was. More sacred far than aught beneath the sun should ever be to us the place where noble deeds were done. Bright crystals pendant from the roof like glittering diamonds gleamed, when on them at the evening's hour a ray of sunlight streamed. The sound of hidden waters came upon the ear all times. Low, soft, and musical it came like distant tinkling chimes. Dry moss and withered leaves were driven in autumn by the wind, in sheltered corners of the cave, a resting place to find. A heap of these, which might have been a lonely hermit's bed, upon a low flat shelf of rock, last autumn's wind had spread. Upon them Pierre his sister laid, for he had seen the place, and in his hand pure water brought, and sprinkled on her face. He watched beside her, till at length she opened her blue eyes, and gazed upon the sparry vault with innocent surprise. But she was faint, and closed them soon, and the low lulling sound of winds and waters once again her eyes in slumber bound. Unconscious of approaching night, o'erwearied thus she slept, whilst watching the fast fading light, Pierre his sad station kept. He sat till on the cavern's roof the sunbeams died away. He sat till in the western sky there lingered not a ray. He watched, still darker it became, long shades the mountains threw, the night wind made its mournful tone, and bats and owlets flew. "O God," he said, and bent his knees upon the rock and prayed, "O God, preserve thy children safe, and make us not afraid. The dark and light are one to thee, and thou canst see us here, amongst these rocks, as when we rest at home without a fear. Elijah was by ravens fed, when by the brook he sat, and God can feed us even here. Oh, I am sure of that." Just then before the cavern's mouth he saw a creature pass. With noiseless step it quickly ran across the dewy grass. What was it? Wolf or bear? Ah! now what could the brave boy do? 'Twas vain alike to fight or fly, to Ella's side he flew. Resolved its victim first to be, he took his station there, while she in happy slumbers wrapped knew nought of his despair. Nearer it came, then with a bound leaped wildly on his breast. The scream of agony he gave roused Ella from her rest. She started up, but wolf nor bear met her awakening sight, but springing from her couch she gave a cry of wild delight. It was her father's faithful dog, and in a moment more their weeping parents knelt beside their children on the floor. The father bore his little girl safe down the mountain side, but Pierre walked manfully along at his glad mother's side. The wind. The wind, it is a mystic thing, wandering o'er ocean wide, and fanning all the thousand sails that o'er its billows glide. It curls the blue waves into foam, it snaps the strongest mast. Then, like a sorrowing thing, it sighs when the wild storm is past. And yet, how gently does it come at evening through the bowers, as if it said a kind good night to all the closing flowers. It bears the perfume of the rose, it fans the insect's wing. 'Tis round me, with me, everywhere, yet 'tis an unseen thing. How many sounds it bears along, as o'er the earth it goes, the songs of many joyous hearts, the sounds of many woes. It enters into palace halls, and carries thence the sound of mirth and music, but it creeps the narrow prison round, and bears away the captive's sigh, who sits in sorrow there, or from the martyr's lonely cell conveys his evening prayer. It fans the reaper's heated brow, it through the window creeps, and lifts the fair child's golden curls as on her couch she sleeps. 'Tis like the light, a gift to all, to prince, to peasant given. Awake, asleep, around us still, there is this gift of heaven. This strange mysterious thing we call the breeze, the air, the wind. We call it so, but know no more. 'Tis mystery, like our mind. Think not the things most wonderful are those beyond our ken, for wonders are around the paths, the daily paths of men. End of Part 2.